And hello everyone, my name is Loyal Wooldridge. I'm the BCNP candidate for Kelowna Centre, and this is Loyal's Community Quickcast. Today I'm really excited. We are talking campus to community, how we can retain young people here in Kelowna post-graduation from our amazing post-secondary institutions. Today we're joined by Abby Newman, who is the Vice President External of the UBCO Student Union. Welcome, Abby. Maybe share a little bit with folks what you do in your role.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you so much for having me here.
Pleasure.
I'm super excited. So I am the Vice President External for the Students Union Okanagan at UBC's Okanagan campus. What that means is I have the pleasure of doing these types of things. So I get to advocate for the needs of the student body, to the government, to local officials like yourselves, but also to UBC and kind of see where we can improve and really bring that student voice to a lot of different perspectives.
And I think that's something that often gets missed in leadership, is that young people's voice and priorities aren't necessarily embedded in a lot of decisions that are made, because obviously you guys are busy studying and building your futures. So
yes.
That's why this conversation is so important today, and something on council I've really advocated for is really supporting young people in some of the challenges that they need to overcome, specifically around housing. But we're going to get to that a little bit later. Now, Abby, are you from Kelowna?
No, I'm originally born and raised in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, but I've since called Kelowna home since 2020.
Oh, well, welcome. We're happy to have you.
I love it here. I used to vacation here a lot when I was a kid, so when I was looking for universities, UBCO was the place for me, and I never looked back.
Yeah, we've evolved from peaches and beaches, I think. Like a lot of people have come here for vacation and then see obviously the natural beauty.
Exactly.
But so much more that we have to offer as well. So what would you say attracts young people to Kelowna and UBCO?
I would definitely say the fact that it's the Okanagan campus. So you're getting a world-class institution, but in a very different environment from the Vancouver campus. It is so community-oriented here, and the opportunity to really be integrated into the beautiful city of Kelowna. I always say whether you're pursuing management, engineering, nursing, or just looking for a part-time job, there are so many ways to take your learning from the classroom and apply it into the beautiful city of Kelowna.
Amazing, amazing. I'm a little bit biased because my partner is an engineering grad, so grateful for the campus attracting wonderful young people here. But obviously it's beautiful, it's a great place to live, but what are some of the challenges and roadblocks that students face, both studying here but also post-graduation?
Yeah, I would definitely say with the beautiful city that we have, it does mean that housing is very difficult. I would definitely say the price of housing, we are in a bit of an affordability crisis when you look at it from the student's point of view. Not only is there a high cost of living, but just the price market, there's so much students who are requiring housing off campus due to just limited housing available on campus.
Yeah, and I think it's a really important point to raise because we've heard from one of the local developers that new housing is the most expensive to build. So that's where government has had to really insert themselves to build more student housing. And the BCNP government's built over 8,000 units across the province during their tenure of the last 7 years. Previous government, only 300 units. So it speaks to how we have to keep pace with the demand, because new housing is obviously the most expensive. And would you say that there are any safety concerns for students, like if they're precariously housed? Because I've heard of people sleeping in their cars, having to use the rec facilities for bathing and those types of things. Can you give me some insight there?
I would definitely say there is a lot of scams out there, and some students come, I'm sure on Sunday, September 1st, there were some students who may have gotten scammed out of an apartment and as a result had to find something else, and whether that was living in their cars. I've personally never heard one of my friends tell the story, but I've heard through anecdotal experiences. I would also say that just in general, the locations, when there's a lower cost to rent, it tends to not be an ideal location, whether it's not close to a bus, services, but also when you look at Academy Hill, there's not much lighting available.
Totally.
Those crosswalks, they lack lit crosswalks, so you're even walking across the street, you don't know if cars are going to see you, and I think in general, wherever you are within the city, there's different safety concerns.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course there's the UPass program that all students participate in. And with the city of Kelowna, we've acquired land right up by UBCO for our new transit facility, which I think is also going to play a really important role in delivering a higher level of service for transportation, because obviously that's probably expensive for folks too.
Yes.
To get around. Something that I've noticed I think is amazing, because I've lived here since 1993, and so it was, not a very diverse city at that time. But what I've seen is an explosion of diversity from the campus. I'm noticing like the African Caribbean Club, for example. I attended one of their events. Can you speak a little bit about the diversity that we're seeing from around the world that's now coming to Kelowna?
I love the diversity on our campus. There are so many amazing students who have just incredible stories and journeys of how they got to UBCO and how they even got to university. And I think whether you're coming from India, from the Caribbeans, from even in Europe, like there's so many amazing students who have such incredible experiences that are bringing those experiences and those lived journeys to the campus and to the community. Right now, the UBC is building a Black Student Success Space, and the SUO, or the Students Union, is helping them by funding them and providing various resources. So we're seeing a collaboration between the university and the Student Union to ensure all of our students are feeling respected and represented, because it's so more important than just a checkbox. But
Totally.
Those resources that are in place to ensure every student gets to be successful is ultimately what I care about and what the Student Union cares about as well.
And I think as a community, we can do even a better job of ensuring that we embed diversity into the community as a whole, because it's great that the university does that, but obviously you're not going to be on campus forever. Well, hopefully not, unless you're a professional student. But that, something I'm really passionate about is making sure that we do have diverse places to worship, to celebrate, to have different cultural gatherings, because again, that's really expanding who's actually going to stay here. Because if the only diversity we have is on campus, then obviously it's
exactly. And I think I know a lot of students have gone to different places of worship and have really found an external community of mentors and like supporters to help them in times of needs, but also during the cultural holidays that we may not always celebrate on campus. So they're being able to be connected within their culture outside of campus too. And I think that's pretty cool, but definitely an untapped area that could really be more developed.
Yeah, and I think also like we recently approved a land use for a new Gurdwara, but for example, in off Benvolen. And something I learned through that process was that it's a place where a lot of people that are struggling with food security can actually go and receive a free, nutritious meal. So I don't think we can understate the contributions that different cultures make to our city. What would you say some of the barriers in general for young people are to integrate into the broader Kelowna community?
I would definitely say transit, kind of getting around the city and seeing what else is out there. A lot of the neighboring communities and like just neighborhoods don't necessarily have a bus route or easily accessible physically, as well as just like throwing out the word accessible. But I would also say like the job market. I want to say like a lot of students, like I pursued the co-op program and I worked within the campus, but a lot of students want to be integrated and actually apply their knowledge, but a little limited because not all companies are aware that there are grants available through the government to fund a co-op student or an internship.
Yeah, I think, like we mentioned earlier, we've been known for our tourism, and this year it's a little bit down from our forest fires and cost of living in general. And so from my perspective, it's really about diversifying out who we're attracting here in terms of employers, because there's a ton of opportunity with both UBCO and OC for internships and co-ops. And I think companies just need to know about those opportunities because young people want to stay here and they want to work here. And I also know that there's a lot of innovation that's coming out of the campus as well.
Exactly, especially with the Innovation Center downtown, all those amazing companies that are coming through. I've been very fortunate to be a part of the Management Student Association that does the Kelowna business trip when we get integrated into the whole city. And it's really cool because there are companies who are actively seeking student employment, but they're just looking for management or business related students, but there's so many, like engineering is such a huge demand here, but also nursing and like psychology, mental health resources, but not all the students know that yet. And so that's something we really want to tap into as well this year from the Student Union point of view.
Now, how do you feel that the campus is connected? Like sometimes I feel, I've heard from students that they feel being up on the campus, they're disconnected from Kelowna. They're not necessarily knowing what is out there. Has anything been changing there, or is that still a bit of a disconnect right now of bringing the campus into the actual community itself?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the kind of disconnect. We're a little bit almost, I say like an island in a way, but the airport is right there, which is so convenient for one, especially we have so many students who are not from the region. But I would definitely say we had a Jumpstart orientation that UBC always hosts, and they actually did like an Explore Kelowna Day.
Cool.
And I think with the new bus system that are coming through, the 84 and the 98 through Rutland and everything, I think that will allow a lot more students to really just kind of hop on the bus, use their UMO or UPass system that they get through their tuition, and really explore the city just on their own time and see what else is out there.
Yeah, I think for me, one of my number one priorities for Kelowna is that new transit yard, because I think it's that real missing key to the puzzle. Having more frequency and rapid transit is really how we can reduce household costs for people, but also get them around in a more efficient, reliable way, because obviously transportation, a lot of people don't know this, is the second biggest cost to most households.
Yes, and a lot of our students don't have cars. They do heavily rely on the bus system. We're really fortunate we have the UBCO Exchange, but it's just not enough. And on the weekends up Academy Hill, we're still missing a bus that runs up and down there, which is primarily when students go and do their student life. Like that's when they do their errands, when they get their groceries, and they have to pay for a taxi because they can't carry everything themselves.
Totally. Yeah, I definitely think transit is probably our biggest priority right now, not only for university, but just Kelowna in general. Our roads are at capacity and we can't obviously build our way out of this. What do you think that we could do differently to integrate higher paying jobs to Kelowna? Because obviously working in food and beverage, for example, is a challenge to sustain your lifestyle here. But what do you think that we could do differently to attract and bring new opportunities for higher paying jobs to Kelowna?
I think a lot of companies are like, oh, the students will come to us. Mm-hmm. Students like their own environment. They're more comfortable in areas that they're familiar with. And when you're new to the whole city, new to Canada even, like there's so many unknowns that are out there. And so I think for companies, like start coming to campus, connect with the student union, connect with academic and career development, and start having little pop-ups. We want to have our students be successful within our city, whether that's as an undergrad, a master's, or just a full-time job.
Right.
And I think it's intimidating going to an office building like we're in right now. Like even I was a little intimidated.
Totally.
So coming to campus is a little bit different because it's your home turf almost. Like you're familiar with it, you know where your safe spots are, and if you get overstimulated or overwhelmed, then you have the area to really just be like, okay, I'm gonna go to my safe spot. Yeah. Like I know if I can go and grab like a coffee here, like those opportunities to really allow students to be successful in an environment that they're most familiar with.
Yeah, I recently did a tour with the Central Okanagan Economic Development Commission to the Innovation Building just off campus slightly. Yes. And it's great because sometimes as a non-student, it's equally as intimidating to go onto campus like, should I be here or not? But you don't realize the amazing research and the grant programs and the talent that's coming out there. So I think, both sides, we need to come together and actually have those.
Exactly. Meet in the middle. Like totally. Our students are ready. They're looking for jobs. And I think it's just kind of come to us a little bit. We are further away. Yeah. And I think that's the key thing that we're missing right now is we've got to travel a little bit further just to get the amazing talent that our students have. And
all of Kelowna is 15 minutes apart, really. So it's not that far. We can do it. So Abby, what are you most optimistic about when you think about Kelowna, when you think about the opportunities? What are you most optimistic about?
For me, I think definitely coming from a smaller province, it's just the opportunities. I love it here. There's so much, what else I can do. There's every day I'm exposed to new students and seeing their journeys and new opportunities and new experiences. And that to me is why I've taken 5 years to do my degree. Every day I'm like, oh, I didn't consider this as a possible career option. I came in wanting to be a dance teacher and now I want to go into human resources and marketing. So
amazing. How
I got there, don't really know. But every day in Kelowna, I get exposed to new things. And I think that's what I've really enjoyed most about it.
Connections, absolutely. Now we're almost out of time. But thank you so much for joining us today. And is there anything else you want to share with folks about young people or students in the university before we close out?
I'd definitely say give us a chance. Students have fabulous potentials and we're going to make mistakes, but that's part of learning. And I think that's one thing I definitely have learned along the way is you got to embrace those mistakes and learn from them and let students get back up and get back on and try again, and just don't be afraid to give us a chance. I think that's the message I'd like to leave.
And your perspectives are so valid and important, and I think that we can't get lost in our own day-to-day and box of our companies that we work in and our jobs that we have, and to reach out because there's so much opportunity, UBCO and Okanagan College, and that we can really reap rewards from. So Abby, it is your first last day of your undergrad today?
Yes.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Thank
I hope
you.
you stick around in Kelowna.
I think so. My parents live here, so I do plan if I don't get a job, that I'll be living in their basement for free. So
Well, we're going to work hard and get you a job.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, that's all our time today, folks. Thank you so much for joining in to Loyal's Community Quickcast, where in 15 minutes or less, we bring you some amazing guests to talk about the challenges and opportunities for solutions right here. You can find me, Loyal Wooldridge, at Loyal Colona on Instagram and Facebook, and look forward to our next time together. Thanks for joining.